Welcome to episode 2 of Truth Pursit. This is your host, Jonathon Karagiannis, and I am extremely grateful you have found this series. So, if you don't know this series, I will always pursue the truth always. I have completely analysed and exposed the Percy Jackson series, Rick Riordan's books, which is about mythology, demigods, and magic in the modern world. Now, if you're obviously awake, you'll obviously know this is definitely occultic. If you're not, then listen up because I've got a big message to get across here, and and is and the mainstream media is not going to tell you the truth about our world. So these books are extremely popular for kids, and it's the second most beloved series after Harry Potter, and obviously we should know that Harry Potter is the really unholy series. It indoctrinates kids with magic and witchcraft, which is forbidden by God in the Bible. And both Harry Potter and Percy Jackson are obviously full of occultism and New World Order agendas. So in this series, really the whole point of it is to completely pursue the truth at all times in Rick Riordan's books to give an insight of what the elite are pushing and the agendas they have in play for us. So today I'll dive into the second book in the Rick Riordan universe chronologically, because obviously the Riordan books are it's hard to tell which one comes first. So I'm gonna go chronologically. The second one is actually the Lightning Thief, which is an average person wouldn't really think of that. They'll think the Lightning Thief is the first one. But no, it's not. It's actually the Diary of Lucas Stellan. If you haven't seen that video, you can check in the description box. I have already done one. You can check it out. And I exposed that too. And there's a lot of interesting stuff in here. But quickly before I start, I just want to make a claim here that these findings, and some of these findings can be true facts or just theories, because all these books and films actually promote the truth more than the mainstream media does. So it's what's interesting. But these theories are making could be evidence, and we're not actually 100% sure if Rick Riordan is one of the satanic worshippers we see all the time everywhere, like all these celebrities we see, they are satanic, period. But from this large paradigm shift I have, I think it surely seems like Rick Riordan is part of it. But also be warned too, be warned, these videos will contain significant spoilers and background content to both, obviously, the Lightning Thief and Rick Riordan's books, and my book series called Era of 303. And that series is pretty much similar to this video series or blog, vlogs or whatever, is to reach out to the masses who are in the matrix and help them wake up and find the truth. And Jesus Christ is the truth. It's similar to Rob Skiba's Seed series, which he's also writing and directing. So I'm thinking of doing the same thing too. So you can check out the Era of 303 in the description box below on Wattpad, and you can actually start reading for free. It's called, right now I'm writing the 100th Son, which is the first one. So, alright, so hopefully the Truth Pursuit is a blessing for you, and it can get you to wake up. So, let's start off with the synopsis of the book first, because what I've done here, I've got the hard copy. I'll see if I can make this, because I've got a lot of, I haven't completely destroyed this book when it comes to dissecting. I've only just found things that are obvious, and things that are really suspicious, and things that might support Era of 303, because, yeah, there's going to be spoilers, so be warned. So, it might go for a little while, so I'll cut this short when I look for the annotations I made in the book, so I can send an edit to make it a little bit shorter for you. So Alright, so the synopsis focuses on the main character, obviously Percy Jackson, who finds out and discovers a world that's much bigger than he ever imagined. He finds out he is the son of Poseidon, who is a Greek god of the sea, the oceans, and earthquakes. And immediately he is handed a quest to redeem himself for a crime he never committed. And this crime, supposedly he stole the Master Bolt from the Greek god Zeus, who is the king of the gods. Now, obviously, if you're awake, you will know there's a lot of symbolism, a lot of, obviously a lightning bolt is symbolism if you're awake. And then obviously there's the gods who have a secret identity, and, there's a lot of stuff. So there's going to be a lot of things if I'm bringing up on this video. So if you're not awake, yeah, it might sound a little bit crazy. So this is all the research I've done. I've done a lot of research behind this. I'm not going on this series if I completely close the mind. I'm completely open to all these theories. And alright, let's start. Let's start with the lightning thief.
Okay, so we'll start on page 27. So, quickly, what's happening in this scene? So, Percy Jackson has just come home from his boarding school, and he's just met his mother for pretty much the first time in a really long time, and they've decided to go on a field trip in Long Island somewhere. It's like, I don't know how to pronounce it, but it starts with M. It's supposed to go for a holiday. And so Percy's dad is Poseidon. Poseidon obviously doesn't live with the mortals. So Percy has a stepdad. And he is a pretty dodgy guy. I'm assuming he's on drugs and alcohol, but he seems like it. But he's a smelly dude. His name is Gabby. He's just got really terrible personality. He plays poker. And he's just, a really smelly old fart to be around, and Percy hates him. So when they're about to leave, he told them to not damage his Camaro. So Percy Jackson saw Grover use this sign to ward off evil, and this sign is something that is really just plain out obvious, really rare, and plain out obvious. So this is the first time it happened. So this is Grover doing it. So Grover is watching can discern these three women sitting on this fruit stand, and these ladies were cutting a giant some sort of giant like sock or something, and it's obvious these are the fates. They control the future. And so Grover closed his eyes and made a gesture with his fingers that might have been crossing himself, but it wasn't. It was something else, something almost older. And yeah, they snip the cord and they get really afraid, because when they snip the cord, somebody dies. So that's something from mythology. So what is this symbol? Well, I actually did research on the symbol. So I found a few things. There are two symbols in Greece culture that ward off evil. The one I found, and the most obvious, and obviously the most occultic, is the evil eye of the Orthodox Church. So this is Orthodox. So not Greek mythology or Hellenism, whatever. Evil eye is, it's a blue eye, you can see it in dream captures, and like you can get them different shapes and sizes. Obviously it represents the all-seeing eye of Lucifer and Nimrod. No surprise whatsoever. It is not a sign that warns off evil. It brings evil into your home, and I wouldn't recommend getting it. I've seen some family members have it. I didn't realize what it meant until now. So that is one warning off symbol, but it's not a hand gesture. In this one, it's a hand gesture. And I found out the hand gesture, and oh my goodness, I shouldn't have been surprised, because it is a really common gesture that people use all the time. It is the sign of the horns. It is A sign of the horns used to pay homage to Satan, Lucifer, and Nimrod, an antichrist. Oh my goodness, Percy Jackson, you just put up the sign of Satan to warn off evil. I mean, that's so ironic. I mean, if Percy Jackson used this sign and it's supposed to warn off evil, and this is in Greek mythology apparently. Lot of in the series they do this a lot, and they're trying to indoctrinate kids to do this symbol to warn off evil. The only thing that warns off evil in this world is the authority and the might of Jesus Christ, Yeshua HaMashiach. He's the only thing that can warn off evil, not the sign of the horns. That just makes the evil person just go, "Oh, thank you for paying homage to me. Oh, let's be friends." No! This sign of the horns is a hand symbol that has been indoctrinated into our culture. And you probably realize where it comes from. It's used by teenagers, especially the rock and roll fans and heavy metal fans. They flash this sign if I don't even know what it means. It's just, see how they just see this stuff in plain sight and just go, "Oh, that looks cool," and then just put the sign on the horns up and go, "Yeah, rock and roll." Nah, you want to be rock and rolling in hell if you don't get saved by Jesus Christ. So now this symbol, this sign of the horns is actually found in Hinduism, and is known as Apama Yogic Mudra, and same it's used in Indian classical dance and uses hand gestures symbolizing the lion. Ooh, the lion. The lion has different symbols in different cultures. The Lion of Judah, who is Jesus Christ, or there's the beast, I think, from Revelation looks a bit like a lion. So, interesting. In Buddhism, it's a gesture used, and it is used to expose the demons and remove obstacles of sickness and negative thoughts. Now, this is where it's interesting, and this is where it connects to Percy Jackson. This usage of the sign can be seen in Italy or other Mediterranean cultures, where confronted with unfortunate events, or simply when these events are mentioned, the sign of the horns may be given off to warn off bad luck. It was used traditionally to counter or ward off the evil eye. The evil eye, remember the evil eye of Lucifer, Illuminati, or seeing eye, $1 bill, Horus, Nimrod. Oh my goodness, it connects. See, look, see, the truth is hidden in plain sight. Percy Jackson. Let me just see if there's anything. Yeah, it explains how to do the symbol, and it's used in Rome as well. So then Romans do this, Mediterraneans, it warns off bad luck, and some people see it as an offensive gesture in like Brazil and Chile, Colombia, and Spain and Peru. But now it's been indoctrinated into North American pop culture, like with like heavy metal and music industry. So, see the corruption there? That is one thing I found out, and it's obvious. This sign that they use, the demigods, when they warn of evil, is actually a sign for evil. So, do not use this sign. It pays homage to Satan. So, it's also appears on page 36, when Percy Jackson. Then that's when he warns off his uncle, not uncle, I mean his stepfather. So he's like, watch him lumber back towards the apartment building. I got so mad, I did something I can't explain. Couldn't explain it. As Gabby reached the doorway, I made the hand gesture, the sign of the horns. He made the satanic gesture that he saw Grover make on the bus to warn off the evil. It's a sort of warning off evil gesture. And then he clawed it over his heart, to showing the movement towards Gabby. That is really suspicious, man. Okay, now let's move on to page 41. I'll try and move as quick as I can. So, now Percy Jackson's at his holiday house, and he's sleeping during a storm, and he has a dream. Demigods have a lot of weird dreams, so I'm going to quickly... he had a vivid dream. It was stormy on the beach, and he saw two animals fighting each other. He saw a white horse. Hold up right there. Let's pull out Revelation. So Revelation 6, let's quickly read. And I saw the Lamb opened one of the seals, and I heard as if the noises of thunder, and one of the four beasts saying, "Come and see." And I saw, behold, a white horse, and he that sat on him had a bow, and a crown was given unto him. And when he went forth conquering and to conquer. And when he opened the second seal, I heard a second beast say, "Come and see." And then like the red horse comes, represents, war and all that, the Antichrist. But the white horse is the white horse is normally has to do to represent Christ. But it's interesting how it's why a white horse is mentioned in here. It's because remember, Greek mythology, Poseidon created horses. Obviously he didn't create horses, God did, but he created horses according to the myth out of water and waves. So a white horse. And now here's another animal. And it was and he saw a golden eagle. Okay, wait, eagle. This eagle in this case represents Zeus. Now we know Zeus represents the kingship. Well, the eagle is a big symbol according to the occult and pretty much the entire world in the history. Eagles represent human and non-godly power on earth. It is being used constantly and represented in all big world empires, and like Rome. Later on in the Heroes of Olympus, we're going to focus on the Roman eagle, which takes place which is a major part of the son of Neptune. And so Rome, America uses the eagle, but what's weird, the American eagle has something really sinister. It has something to do with Egypt, because Egypt had a similar symbol that looked very similar to the American one. The Nazis had one, but remember, this all goes back to Babylon. So Nimrod, the first king of Babylon. In Egypt, there's this bird called the Bennu bird, and it's supposed to be the soul bird and a symbol of resurrection for Osiris. Now, Osiris is Nimrod. Why is he Nimrod? Well, because Nimrod's told to resurrect. He's the first king of the world. Because during the Tower of Babel, when God divided the languages, people went into Egypt speaking about Nimrod, who was Osiris, and there's actually more proof. Can't remember at the top of my head, but there's a lot of proof supporting Osiris. I mean, look at the Book of the Dead. You can look at the NASA Osiris. Oh my goodness! And the Bennu bird. The Bennu bird represents Osiris. Now, the Bennu bird was pictured as a phoenix rising out of the ashes. The rising out of the ashes is the resurrection of the Antichrist. That's what it represents, according to, it's what it represents. But look at this here. Look at the symbol on the American eagle. It looks like an eagle, right? But hold up, wait, this is a symbol for Horus. Now, I will focus a little bit. I think I might go into this in Cain Chronicles. But Horus is the reincarnation of Osiris. And what happened in Nimrod's case, Osiris died and he was reincarnated again in Semiramis's tummy as Tammuz. So Tammuz is Horus, and this symbol for Horus, the Bennu bird, is the exact same one that we see on the eagle in America. It's the same symbol. The same, nothing's new under the sun. They just recycle it. They just recycle it. I mean, it's so weird how the Great Seal on the $1 bill has the all-seeing eye, and the pyramid, and the Bennu bird. And on the top it says, "When one in God we trust," but it's all in capital letters to hide the fact that it's not our God, because our God, Yahuwah, whatever you call him, Yohadvave, he is capital G. And then on the whole sentence, "In God we trust" is all in capital to hide the fact that it's our God, and say, "Oh, we're Christian nation." But if you just put in normal, it'll be "In God we trust," and it's a lowercase g. So which God? Osiris? Yeah, you got the all-seeing eye and the Egyptian pyramid and the Bennu bird on the $1 bill. Yeah, America is trusting in Osiris. And if we go into Cain Chronicles, we know who Osiris is, and it connects, and it gets really amazingly interesting. And if you think about it, your mind will blow up. It will be like, what? the stuff you find when you research this. So yeah, quickly, there's the eagle swooped down and slashed a horse, and there's a big fight. And then Hades, we know who Hades is, Satan, hell, talks to Percy, and there's a bit of earthquake. And Percy falls. Oh no, actually, the eagle's about to kill the white horse, which is interesting. Eagle represents Satan, and the white horse represents Christ. And it's about to kill. Ooh, and Percy's like, no! Woke up with a start. And that's alright, that's that part. So let's move on to the next page. Okay, now we got to the exciting part. So, Grover appears with his goat legs. He's a satyr. He's a hybrid. And do you know who has goat legs and who is a goat? That is right, Baphomet, Satan, who is Pan. So a satanic hybrid appeared in front of Percy's front door, and they said, they're coming after us and we have to go to camp immediately. So Percy's mother's panicking and takes Percy and Grover as fast as they can to this camp for demigods, this secret camp that keeps them safe from monsters in the mortal matrix. So when they're happening, they're trying to get there, and then all of a sudden, a lightning bolt strikes their car, obviously coming from Zeus, and then this happens. Now, we all should know what the Minotaur is. The Minotaur is an animal-human hybrid that was made in the days of Noah. Now, it's a complete abomination towards God. There's a passage, I think, I need to quickly see, it's about bestiality. Now, I remember in Greek mythology, Minos is, can't remember straight, but I think it was Minos' daughter or wife in Crete. So in Crete, yeah, and then she fell in love with Poseidon's magical bull, something from the sea. It's a little bit rusty. I haven't read this in a long time, but yeah. So she has sex with the bull, and as a result, oh look, you got an animal-human hybrid with a face of a bull, a complete abomination towards the Lord. So if you read Leviticus 20 verse 15 to 16, if a man has sex with an animal, he must be put to death, and an animal must be killed. So see Yahweh knows, because if this in Greek mythology, this story about the Minotaur pretty much explains why Yahweh is so he seems really genocidal, because there were animal-human hybrids before the flood that God wiped out, like the Minotaur and satyrs. They were all completely evil. They had demonic spirits possessing them. That's why they're monsters. Even Percy Jackson gets it. Rick Riordan in the book, he gets it. They're monsters. And it says if a woman presents herself to a male animal, has intercourse with it, she must be put to death as well. And it's a guilty capital offense. Now, this is in the Bible, and it says that. Why? Well, Greek mythology probably explains why. The Minotaur, who was created by a woman having sex with a bull, commended completely in the Bible. So yes, there's a fight. Percy fights this thing. So what's this interesting here? The Minotaur is a man with a bull's head, like Moloch. And Baal is a representation of Nimrod, and Baal is mentioned many times in the Bible as being a demonic pagan god that is idolatrous, and Israel always fell into worshipping this thing, and it's a sin. And something, and then there's something a little bit interesting here. Percy Jackson fights this thing because Percy's mum Percy thought she died because the Minotaur grabbed her and she just poofed up in an explosion of blue dust. And Percy got so angry he went to fight the Minotaur, and eventually he pulls off its horn. And I just thought about this. What if this horn is weird? I mean, I don't know. This is a theory I'm putting out there. probably for Era of the 3, so spoiler alert. This horn that Percy has could represent Rome. Now, if you don't know, Rome is the mystery of Babylon. The horn is a metaphor for the little horn. If you don't know, little horn is another name or term for the Antichrist, who is Nimrod. And Nimrod, you know, in many forms of Nimrod, he's been worshipped as the Apis bull, Serapis, who will focus on in the Cain Chronicles, Serapis and the Apis bull, the Minotaur. Yeah, and there's a lot of bulls in Percy Jackson in Rick Riordan's universe. And why? Well, the Antichrist is one of his symbols is a bull. And it's really interesting. I mean, this is strange. But that's just a theory and an explanation of the Minotaur and why it is an abomination to God. So let's move on to the next page, which is around page 62 and 63. Okay, so we get to the part when Percy Jackson finally gets to Camp Half-Blood. Now you'll think it's a good place, but if you know what the truth is, you would know that it is not a good place to be in. So Mr. D is the camp director. He is apparently Dionysus. He is the Greek god of wine, partying, and fertility, I'm assuming. We know that is 100% Nimrod. Nimrod is 100% Dionysus. It's one of these Greek forms. Now, if you don't believe me, I want you to check out Tom Horn's blog. I need to quickly find it here. Now, he wrote something about regarding Dionysus and the Nimrod Satanic connection. And Dionysus has a lot of Satanic elements to his character and some of the myths. I can't really find it. But here, it's called Read It Before It's Banned by the US Government, Part 19, Dionysus, the Psychotic Aspect of Demon Apollo Osiris Nimrod. If you read that, you find a lot of strange stuff. I'm not going to read the whole thing because there's going to be a long time. So, yeah, there's a lot of things that are... the Dionysus is connected to the Satanic pure and its period. So listen to what Dionysus says in Percy Jackson. And this is some pretty weird things. So here is page 62. And you understand these characters are a little bit grumpy and, you know, angry. This Grover talking. That's Mr. D, Grover murmured to me. He's the camp director. Be polite. To be polite to him. So why do you have to be polite to him? Well, here, we need to read. So Camp Half-Blood. Quickly, Camp Half-Blood. Now, this is a theory, and this is just a theory for me and something for Era of the 3, so another spoiler alert. Camp Half-Blood and Camp Jupiter as well are female camps. Now, why would I think that? Well, here's some evidence that might prove that it is. So, 1, Camp Half-Blood is directed by Nimrod, who's going to be the Antichrist. And one of Nimrod's aspects is Dionysus, Mr. D, who's currently in charge, believe it or not, of Camp Half-Blood. That's a bit strange, isn't it? It is strange. Now, number 2, all demigods there are American citizens, or most of them should consider are American citizens. And American citizens in martial law will be put into FEMA camps for Operation Depopulation, because if you look on the Georgia Guidestones, there are anti-10 commandments to explain. One of them, the first one, I think it's called Reduce Population to 7 million. Now that's a lot of people. Reducing population to 7 million people, or around there. I don't know, I can't actually remember. I might be wrong, so I just put it on the screen for you to see the actual Georgia Guidestones. It is really just, those stones actually promote the truth. It's strange. It's so, in your face. So number 3, there are 2 more FEMA camps on the Long Island, and thousands all over the USA. So here's a map of all the FEMA camp regions all over the USA. There's thousands of these camps, and they're used to. So, for example, if there's a hurricane, which most of the hurricanes are man-made by HAARP and chemtrails, they'll use weather warfare to do this deliberately. It's all done by them. It's all staged. It's all hoax. So they create a hurricane, and then the hurricane's coming, so they have civilians have no choice but to go to FEMA camps, which is, well, the FEMA camps are going to come there by force. They're going to go, oh, you have no choice. You have to come to these FEMA camps for survival, for the New World Order. You have to get used to it. So they go to these camps. They get treated like Jews in the Holocaust. It's terrible. There's actually videos online right now that people, like, after Hurricane Harvey, there's people in FEMA camps filming it, and it's terrible. It is the worst treatment. It's cruelty. You should look at it. These videos. I've got some footage up here for you to see. It's terrible, and these demigods had better wake up, or else they're gonna be in FEMA camps. Because Dionysus is Nimrod. Yes, number 4. So all demigods are gonna have to be forced in these camps, and the whole of America population can enter these undercover concentration camps. They're concentration camps, and they're used to Operation Depopulation, which is a theory, or not a theory, an agenda. Because remember, this entire thing here is a theory. That might not be true, but it is interesting. Food for thought. That is interesting. Alright, so let's go to the next page. The next page is, it's just over the page. So page 64 and 65. Now, so we have Dionysus is still talking to Percy and the others. So Mr. D stopped shuffling the cards. He looked at me like I just bleached loudly. Young man, names are powerful things. You don't just go around using them for no reason. Okay, this is where it gets interesting. If Dionysus is Nimrod, and names is interesting. Yes, yeah, especially for you, Nimrod, Dionysus, the man of many names. Why is Nimrod called man of many names? Because remember, Percy Jackson uses his name a lot, and Dionysus hinting something to him and telling him his true identity, because Dionysus Nimrod has got many names. So in the Tower of Babel, it was the old world order. The whole world after the flood, it was only I guess 1 million people. We weren't many, but all the people on Earth were at that center point of the Tower of Babel, and they were helping build a huge ziggurat. They actually tried to get into heaven. It's so high. It was a really big building, and it took a whole year for people to get up to the top, apparently. And so they tried to get into heaven to kill God, and Nimrod was conducting it, and then God saw this, and he was like, nope. And then he founded the languages, so everyone who was working there all spoke in all the 70 languages in the earth today. And then they went back to their home countries, or they traveled the world. So they went to, Native Americans went to America, Australians went to Australia, they all went to their places, and they all carried the same stories and mythologies about Nimrod and Semiramis in different languages. And Nimrod he had so many names in all these 70 languages. Nimrod had over 70 names, different names. He's probably got more. So that's where it comes from, the man of many names. Really suspicious. In Percy Jackson and Kane Chronicles 2 and Rick Riordan series, names have power. That is true. Names do have power. They can get people's attention, and if you know someone's secret name, you got control over them. So, something interesting. Nimrod's got many names, and he can get controlled easily if they know his true name, which is easy. Alright, so now let's move on a little bit to page 65. Now he's a little bit. This is where it gets interesting. So Percy is talking. Mr. D is just playing around with him. He's like, you do know how to play. You do know how to play. Mr. D eyed me suspiciously. I'm afraid not. I said. I'm afraid not, sir. He said. Sir, I repeated. I was like in the camp director, less and less. Yeah, I would. He's Nimrod. Of course I hate him. Well, he told me, it is, along with gladiator fighting and Pac-Man, one of the greatest games ever invented by humans. Now here's where the point is. I would expect all civilized, and civilized is in italics, and I've circled it, all civilized young men to know the rules. And he's using an analogy of gladiator fighting and Pac-Man to rules at this game that they call the New World Order, the one world religion. This is all a game for them. It's all just a big game. And that's a good analogy, Nimrod. I like that analogy. Alright, so you have to know the rules of what 303 or the New World Order Illuminati expects humans to follow. So they expect you to be in the Matrix and be a zombie and follow everything they do. So when they introduce the microchip, you'll be like, oh yeah, the microchip. They'll introduce the Antichrist, they'll be like, oh, Antichrist. And then when they show Project Bluebeam, they'll be like, ooh, aliens are coming. That's the rules they want us to follow. They want us to follow their orders to the Satanic religion so they can get us all into hell. And that's the rules. Those are the rules that they want us to follow. And if you're in the truth moon, you have to break these rules for the greater good. If you don't want to go to hell, you have to break these rules. So Nimrod hopes Percy Jackson remains constantly asleep. He wants Percy Jackson to remain in the Matrix as long as he possibly can, because he knows Percy Jackson's famous. He's an idol to many people. He's a Nephilim. People will look up to him instead of Jesus Christ, and people will look at him as a false idol. Yeah, it gets all crazy in there. That's the rules the Illuminati wants us to play. And those are the rules that we need to start straying away from if we're going to wake up. We need to take the red pill, not the blue pill, Percy. I know you like the color blue, but if you take the blue pill, you're going to go to hell. So please, for once, Percy, don't take the blue pill. Take the red one. Alright, so now the next page is on page 67, and this is an interesting part. Now, let's go to page 67. This is where we get a little bit interesting. So Percy Jackson is talking to Chiron. Chiron, quickly, is a centaur that teaches demigods and keeps them safe, and he's the founder of Camp Half-Blood. Alright, so Chiron's obviously a Nephilim as a result of animal-human hybridization before the flood. So we should know Chiron is... No, I wouldn't say he's the best mentor to have, but he seems a bit nice, I guess, at here. But I shouldn't judge that. So quickly, I'm going to read this paragraph here because it's pretty interesting. So Grover bit a huge shard out of the empty aluminium can and chewed it mournfully. Wait, I told Chiron. You're telling me there's such thing as God? Ooh, so he never believed in God. So Percy Jackson was an atheist. I'm assuming, it seems like it. I mean, atheism, as you know, is one of Satan's greatest tricks to get us to believe that we don't need a leader and we can be free and do whatever we want. Do it without wilt mindset, which is created by the most wicked man, one of the most wicked men in history, Aleister Crowley. He was a satanic magician, and according to Error of 303, he was an extremely powerful magician of the Scarlet Council, which is a satanic branch of the House of Life. So he's pretty dangerous. And this is the atheist mindset Percy has. So Chiron continues. So, well now, Chiron said, God, capital G God, that's a different matter altogether. We shan't deal with the metaphysical. metaphysical, but you're just talking about gods plural, as in great beings that control the forces of nature and human endeavors, the immortal gods of Olympus. That's a smaller matter. Smaller? Oh, he's admitting that the true God, Yod-Heh-Vav-Heh, Yahweh, he is big. He's even admitting that he's the creator. I mean, literally, he's saying that he's into the metaphysical mindset, which means he's primordial. It's sort of complementing our God, sort of, but in some way. But it also shows all paganism fears the true power of God, the true God, the creator. Paganism fears it. Charon fears the true God. He even says he's too metaphysical, and just the normal gods, as in Mount Olympus, Greek gods, they're smaller and they're easier to deal with. Or because they were the creation, or I wouldn't say exactly the creation of Yahweh, because some of these pagan gods, as a result of fallen angels, made them with women, and some of these pagan gods could be just normal men that just lived for a long time. So that's probably why he thinks it's smaller and easy to deal with, because they're just idols, these pagan gods, men. Or they can just be fallen angels that rebelled against God and fell with Lucifer. Now, obviously, Charon's alluding to the fact that God is the Almighty and he is powerful, and we shouldn't deal with him because he is judgmental, and he's powerful and he can send you to hell. So we shouldn't deal with him. We should deal with Zeus and all that, because they're probably human and they're probably just demons. Yeah, they're probably just those guys. See, he's telling Percy Jackson that God is not someone to deal with, and you shouldn't pray to him. You should pray to Poseidon and Zeus, because they're easy to deal with. See, look. You can see how Rick Riordan sort of tells us that. This is the mindset that they say that our God, the Creator, the true God, is he's he's a little bit out there. We shouldn't we don't have the capacity to realize how great he is. We should just deal with the pagan gods, because they're just much easier. They're more human-like. Oh, I'm sorry, but our Creator, he is powerful. I can say that. You're admitting to the truth that he is strong, the Almighty God. I like how you're saying that, Rick. But, and also, I also do not like how you say, that, it's easier to deal with these great beings that control the forces of nature, which is the pagan gods. So, that's interesting how they mentioned it. It's almost if they fear him, which is a good thing. Everyone should fear the Creator, Yahweh. They should always fear him, because he is the Creator. I mean, just imagine a human walks up to an ant. What would the ant feel? The ant would feel, it's almost if the ant met Godzilla. You'll be terrified. That's sort of what it's like when at the presence of God. He's the Almighty Creator. We will be terrified at his presence. That's why they don't like, dealing with him, because he's too strong. Because he's the most powerful being, the Creator. He created everything. So that's why they're saying, I'll just deal with the pagans. That's another satanic mindset. Just want you to, point that out, which is interesting. It's mentioned in Percy Jackson. Yeah. Now, let's move on. Page 68 and 69. Now, we got another interesting one here. On page 68 and 69, we have Mr. D again, who is our buddy Nimrod. So he's talking. I'll just read the full context here. I flinched when he said my real name, which I never told anybody. So Perseus Jackson is Percy's real name. And later I'm going to tell you what Perseus really is, because he's got another sinister connection to this New World Order. What will people think of your science thousands of years from now? Again, our science is pretty messed up. Evolution, come on. Even Mr. D agrees with it. And he's Nimrod. Mr. D continued. They will call it a primitive mumbo-jumbo. That's what. He's admitting that mumbo jumbos, they thought in ancient times we were dumb. Well, I believe in a type of evolution that we were smarter mentally, a mental evolution, and we built pyramids, we had technology, we can genetically modify things. That's how we get all these awesome mythologies of all these gods and weapons and technologies and all these different monsters. I mean, we were so creative back then, but now we have become a zombie race. We just look on phones. We care about whether we're late, we're going to work, or we care about getting good grades in school, which I'm saying is important, but where's that going to get you? I mean, you're just going to be part of the matrix if you just going to, oh, I just want to do this so I can get. If it's the most important thing to you to get a job and do all that stuff and get money, that's sad, and that's part of the matrix. That should not be the most important. The most important thing is praising the Lord, Jesus Christ, and the Creator. That should be your most, and salvation, the most important thing. So, Mr. D, you've got a point. That's what. Oh, I love mortals. It's sarcastic. They absolutely no sense of perspective. They do. They have become dumb. The society is becoming dumb. They think we've come so far, and they have, Chiron. Yeah. Nimrod, who's Mr. D, knows that the human race has gotten dumber, and he loves it because it just adds to the human race becoming dumber. It just helps the New World Order flourish and help the ushering in of the Antichrist. So many people have been led away from the truth. They just don't even know what to do anymore. That's how dumb they are, and this is why the gods love it, because they are. The gods love this. I mean, they're not the gods I want to be worshipping. These pagan gods that just want us to do everything for them. They want us to be dumb. These are obviously. This is why Yahweh told us not to worship these things. It's crazy. All right, so the humans worship Nimrod without even knowing, and it helps his agenda because they're so dumb they don't even realize that. Oh, they've got a picture of Jesus Christ with the sun disk behind it. Oh no, it doesn't matter. That sun disk goes back to paganism, which is invented by Nimrod. It's just a Talmud's the picture. I mean, people don't even realize they worship Nimrod. More people worship Nimrod and Semiramis than they do to Jesus Christ, and that's what I've seen to come. That's my conclusion of all my research. That's what it seems that more people are worshipping Nimrod more than they ever did in Babel. But even in those ancient times, I mean, more people are worshipping Nimrod and thinking that they're worshipping God. It's all part of the deception. The Great Delusion, it's spoken in the Bible, the Great Delusion, even the elect people who think they're really smart in theology, they think they're doing well in their church, but they realize that they dedicated their church to worshipping Nimrod without even realizing. And that's part of the deception. So now, let's move on to page 69. My heart pounded. He was trying to make me angry for some reason, but I wasn't going to let him. And I said, I wouldn't like it, but I don't believe in gods. Oh, you better. His name is Rick Riordan. Oh, you better believe in the pagan gods. Well, yes, they do. They do exist, but don't worship them. They're not. They're the idols, false idols. Breaks their first commandment and 10 commandments. They're probably demons and fallen angels and just men. It's just idol worship. So yeah, it's just almost Rick Riordan's putting in front of us and going, "Oh, you better worship these pagan gods. You better worship them." It's all part of the new age movement. They're always worshiping and doing these pagan gods and all that. You better, Mr. D murmured, before one of them incinerates you. He's even saying, oh, if you don't worship the pagan gods, they'll kill you. Well, they won't kill you if you worship the true God and then you use his authority, because they'll be terrified, because these pagan gods are nothing compared to the real God. I mean, look at the Exodus account. These Egyptian gods were they were traumatized. I mean, I mean, they're terrified of our God. And they don't want to speak about it. They just say, nope, I don't want to speak about this God. Let's just speak about pagans. Pagan gods, they're better. So Nimrod. Nimrod is hungry to do that to not just to Percy Jackson, but to an entire world and your head Barba. He wants to incinerate the world. That's Nimrod's main agenda. To incinerate it so he can control it under an iron fist and one eye. And during the 7-year tribulation, when the Antichrist comes, he's going to have all his time to rule for 7 years. And it's a short time, and he wants to incinerate all the people who go against him. If they don't get the mark of the beast, he'll incinerate them, like those pagan gods do. They'll smite them until they're gone. He just wants to rule and rebel and just be a rebel until Yeshua, Jesus Christ, comes back and steamrolls him into the pit. That's a brilliant, you can see the agenda is strong here on this page. Look at Mr. D, the Nimrod, being so subtle. I told you, Rick Riordan's subtle. There's double meanings to this stuff. If you think in this mindset, it's almost as if Rick Riordan's telling us, what he wants us to do to be part of the Matrix or the New World Order, or what not to do. If you think it that way, it is interesting. I can say that for a fact. Well, next one is pretty long, and pretty interesting and full of information, so get ready. Alright, this is a big one, and it's gonna have a lot of information. This is crucial here, and this is the whole reason of Rick Riordan's stories. Have you noticed, if you've read Rick Riordan's books, all his books, Roman, Greek, Egyptian, Norse, mythology, all takes place in America is a pretty... Man, from the research I've done, America is the worst place to be in, especially in this time of the time of history. It's a daughter of Babylon. It's so much idol worship, so much idolatry. It's just the most sinful, one of the most sinful places. Think of a sin. Any sin is possible in America, the most sinful place on earth. I hate America, but I'm not saying I hate the people, because, man, there are people there, amazing people, but America is corrupt. I'm not saying I hate America like in a political sort of way, no, because it's idolatrous. If you do your research from the Statue of Liberty, from I can go on forever. America is insane. Insane. There's a lot of stuff. Now, I'm going to read this. This is big, so I want you to listen here. Well, certainly the gods move with the heart of the West. The West, remember, the West is, in the Egyptian tradition, is the side of death. West is not considered as bad luck in Egypt. The West is, something interesting. But West has always been a heart of civilization ever since Babylon, probably even before the flood. These pagan gods all came, and they were worshipped by all these pagans that were sinful against God. They scorned against God. They scoffed him. They were completely ignorant and naive towards the Lord. And they're always been connected to the West. These fallen angels, demons, and idols all been connected to the West. And it's been going on forever. So, come now, Percy. What you call Western civilization, do you think it's just an abstract concept? No, it's a living force. It's a living force. It's been originated since Babel. The Tower of Babel, that God destroyed because they tried to rebel and they try to reach into heaven. The humans' accomplishment. They wanted to be free. They thought God was a burden. That's why this Western civilization. It's all connected to these pagan gods. A collective consciousness that has burned bright for thousands of years, burned bright since the beginning of time. ever since Eve ate the apple, that's been all the paganism. Sin came in. This is what it is. It's sin. The gods are part of it. You might even say they're the source of it. They are the source of it. Thank you for saying that, Chiron. They are the source of civilization because they came down from heaven and just the watchers, the fallen angels watchers decided to mingle with men. They taught them everything. This is why we became so smart. The angels taught us how to make weapons, warfare. They told us how to language, writing, magic, worship. I mean, creating things. I mean, metal work. I mean, you can go on forever. I mean, these gods, fallen angels, taught us everything, and that's how the heart of civilization came to be, because of these angels, these fallen angels, and they're the source of the Western civilization, and it could not. Okay, so you might even say they're a source of it, or at least they are tied so tightly to it that they could not possibly fade, not unless all of Western civilization was obliterated. This is, I mean, do I even need to explain? I mean, these demons, pagan idols, Nephilim, whatever they are, these are obviously abominations. They've been attached to this civilization that's been disconnected from God, and it's been so powerful because Satan's New World Order comes out of this Western civilization. It's the whole source of it. It's always remained powerful. It's always remained powerful, and Satan wants it to remain powerful, and God's allowing it. Do you know why? Because he's sick of all this pagan sin and all this breaking of the commandments and the law. He wants it gone. So he's going to just let them all come together in the New World Order. He's going to take up his church, the true worshippers of Jesus Christ, and he's going to get them in heaven, protect them, and then he's going to get his weapons ready and his army, and he's going to plow through the sin and replenish the earth for the Millennium Kingdom. And I don't want any pagans or Percy Jackson fans to be part of the New World Order, because you're going to die and your destiny is in hell. So please repent. I mean, just please look for Jesus. That's the most important thing. Just believe that he died for you. Don't believe that, like, I don't know, you care about these characters in books. I know they're really good characters. I'm honest. I'll be honest with you. I like these characters. But Jesus Christ, he died for you because you were caught up into this paganism, and he cares for you. So who wouldn't love that? I mean, only the sickest person on earth that has a dead brain would think that's wrong. I mean, come on. So only if Western civilization is obliterated, and the only way that can happen is Jesus Christ's second coming. So now, yeah, this is the whole reason why the world is so pagan, and this is why Yahweh hates it. And then I'll mention about the ego. I've already done that, and it's interesting. So now let's go on a bit further. But Percy thinks the gods must have gone extinct. So he goes, and he goes, and they died? Died? No. Did the West die? The gods simply moved to Germany, to France, to Spain for a while. Wherever the flame was the brightest, the gods were there. I mean, I can urge you, look into history. There's pagan gods. These Greek gods have remained with civilization. Rick Riordan knows what he's writing about. I mean, first you got Greece, and then all these civilizations took their ideas. I mean, all across the world, they're all the same stories, all the same gods, different names. The whole world knew about these gods, these 200 watchers. And then he just renamed them, re-established them, and just remade it, and just like recycled it. Nimrod recycled it all. And then it got to Rome, they renamed the Roman gods, and after Rome, France, Britain, I mean, the British, they sort of had and then you got they named the planets after these Greek gods, all these stars after Greek myths. I mean, astrology, which is also a false teaching of these fallen angels. They taught about these Greek gods everywhere. They're the names of our months, the names of our continents and countries. they are the names of our days. I mean, like Thor's Day, there's Thursday, Frig's Day, Friday. I mean, they're all everything, pretty much everything in our day-to-day lives. The calendar. I mean, everything we know of, everything we've been raised with in the Western civilization, all goes back to these Greek gods and pagan gods. Everything connects. And this is how Babylon rises. And this is why Babylon is so powerful. And this is how the New World Order starts. This is the roots of it. And this is how it flourishes. They spent several centuries in England, definitely. All you need to look is the architecture. People do not forget the gods. They didn't forget the day when these fallen angels came from the heavens. They all see it and they'll go, oh, the gods are coming. I mean, these pagans knew about these gods forever. Even the people who were saved knew how to stay away from them. These pagan gods interfered with God's plan because they're all part of Satan. I mean, why would God say to not worship these false idols? Because they're all from Satan. That's why. Every place they've ruled for the last 3,000 years, you can see them in paintings and statues on the most important buildings. And yes, Percy, of course, they are now in your United States. Oh my goodness, United States. Okay, quickly, I'm just going to skim through it. Statue of Liberty represents Isis Semiramis. That's what the statue represents. The Washington Monument is a pillar of obelisk from Egypt. It's supposed to represent Osiris, the resurrection, the phallic symbol. It's right next to a lake above, so below, which is they believe that the good deeds outweigh their bad deeds. That's why it's all symbolism, triangles, pyramids. And then you got the Washington, the Capitol building. You look up at the dome. I've got a picture up here. George Washington with Neptune and Zeus and Hephaestus and all the great. See, Rick Riordan knows about this. Look, all these pagan gods with George Washington, who's, by the way, a son of Athena, according to Rick. Interesting why he said that. I mean, it means George Washington tried to be like Zeus. I mean, Zeus tried to be like the Baphomet. It all connects to Satan. This paganism, you could just look at this. You should start questioning yourself. What is Rick trying to say to us? This is all part of the New World agenda. It's all the return of the pagan gods. This is what it's all about. They wanted these pagans, the gods, to come back. And in Rick Riordan's series, they are back. And they're alive. And they're coming back to rule the world for the New World Order. These are what the gods are going to do. They're just going to help Satan rule. They're all his demons, his army. Look at your symbol, the eagle of Zeus. I've just explained that earlier in the video. Look, I mean, it's connected. Even look, Rick Riordan just said that. Look at the statue of Prometheus in Rockefeller. Rockefeller is oh my goodness. It's the Rockefeller Center, the great facades in your government buildings in Washington. Look at this. I defy you to find any American city where the Olympians are not prominently displayed in multiple places, like it or not. And believe me, plenty of people weren't very fond of Rome either. America is now the heart of the flame. It is the great power of the West. And so Olympus is here, and here we are. Wow. Thank you for explaining the whole reason why God is sending a judgment. We are truly in the end days. America is Greece, it's Egypt, it's Rome, it's pagan, it's Babylon, it's pure, and it's period. Come on. Look, I'm going to quickly read this here. The Rockefeller family is part of the Illuminati. I mean, it's so obvious. I mean, you can do your research here. Rockefeller is one of the 13 family bloodlines of the Illuminati, and actually there's a picture right here. They're all part of it. 322 Skull and Bones is one of the main things. I mean, George W. Bush was part of that. They worshipped Osiris and all these Greek gods. I mean, our government worships these pagan gods. I mean, wonder why Rick Riordan keeps on putting these gods in America. So this is how Babylon takes over the world. When the pagan gods follow Western civilization. Your head Vave wants his people to leave by the rapture or to spiritually leave and disconnect from the matrix, so he can obliterate the world of idolatry. So that's what's going to happen, folks, if you're just stuck in this world and thinking these pagan gods are living everywhere, when they actually are. These things are demons. I mean, oh boy, these demons are everywhere. I mean, I've taken photos of these demons. They're manifest in the places you least expect them. They're everywhere. I mean, if you see the photos of these demons, you'll think they're more abundant. They're more demons than there are. I mean, there are more demons than there are birds in the sky in the world. I mean, there's so many. Man, the West are worshipping devils. Most pagan things are unpleasant. Wonder why Mr. D was banished in the first place. Oh yeah, Mr. D was banished. He got caught up with, flirting with this Minotaur, I think, and then he got banished from Olympus. I mean, of course, Nimrod is going to be angry. Man, you see, there's so much symbolism in this world when it comes to Illuminati and occultic symbolism. I can't go into this stuff. I'll probably slowly throughout the Rick Riordan series I'll explain some of these symbols. But man, if you step into America, you'll see that the symbols are everywhere. It is the place of the great gods, truly. Rick Riordan is right. The great gods are coming back. And same in the Egyptians and the Norse gods, looking at Rick's other series, they're all returning to the earth. Because Babylon is rising, folks. And the only way to stop it is to be of Jesus Christ and to rebel against this satanic new world order, one world religion, and salvation is through Christ. It's the only thing. I mean, I can't be more clear than that.